given that it is a new moon, given that we are about to move in to the astrological new year and into Aries season, it feels like that's probably what this is for. So, again, this is a collective reading, so take what resonates for you and leave the rest. But this feels like a really potent one. So, the first that we have is the highest possible outcome. So, we got the King of Wands and the Six of Pentacles. So, this feels really, really powerful for all of us. The King of Wands is, well, first of all, the wands is all about creative energy. It's associated with fire. So this is so much about like our own creative life force and what we're here to create, especially because it comes out with this Pentacles card. Pentacles, again, tend to be speaking to our material reality, stuff that we're creating in the here and now, in the actual world, right? And so having the King of Wands with the Six of Pentacles is feeling very much like the highest possible outcome is that we are using our creative life force. We are working with spirit, right? Having the Six of Pentacles, I love this one that has this like beautiful figure eight on here. This is so much about reciprocity. This is so much about generosity, right? The giving and the receiving, right? The so much in life, right? Like how we need to act in order to get clarity, how we need to do to get clarity, right? This is so much about the highest outcome is going to be that we are sharing our gifts. It also feels like we're being compensated for the gifts that we're sharing, for the magic that we're bringing forth, right? Having this Leo, this lion here, right? This really feels like us shining bright is the highest possible outcome. And as a result of us shining bright, like we are having our material needs met. We can live generously. We give and receive, right? People generously give to us. We generously give, right? So this feels really good for all of us, especially for those of us, again, right? Like this is the Kairos Alumni Academy. So it feels really potent for all of us to be getting this message that like the highest possible outcome is that we are out there leading and sharing our gifts and we are receiving and giving generously. And we're collaborating with spirit. So the energy that we need to call in right now, we got the wheel. So this is a major arcana card. So this is speaking to big stuff. And this card has come up in a couple readings that I've done about the energy that we need to call in. So this is all about especially in this one, calling in the both and, right? We need to stop feeling like we have to like make a decision, right? Like we have to choose a side, like we need to make the right choice. The message that's coming in here is that like we need to stop focusing on what's right and wrong, and we need to focus on the next best thing, the thing that we're being guided to do, the thing that is arising within us to do. There's almost like this need to just not overthink, right? We got the King of Wands up here, and the King of Wands, again, they're acting in their power, right? They're trusting their intuition. And so this is the what energy we need to call in. So we need to be calling in the all that is. We need to be calling in our own destiny, right? Our own, right? Because this is like the wheel of fortune, right? And this idea that we get to write the future based on the things that we create right now, right? We get to cast the stones of destiny based on our current actions now. And again, this isn't about right actions or wrong actions, right? This is about doing the thing that we are guided to do and trusting that when we do it, we will get what we need, even if we don't know what that is, even if it's maybe not money, right? Let me see. So, what else wants to be said about this? Because this is the energy that we want to call in. Yeah, so much of this is about calling in the both and. There's almost this like stop labeling things as good, bad, right, wrong, right? We need to eliminate that binary and we need to come back in to this wheel, right? We need to come back into the interconnectedness of all things, right? I said this in another reading, but it's coming through to be said again, right? Western society has abandoned this circle for a line, right? So we're on one side of it, the line, or the other side of the line, right? But the wheel, like that's not really, even when you're on one side, you're still connected, right? And so we need to come back in to the circle, right? Because you can fall off the end of the line, right? But you can't fall off the end of the circle. You just keep going. You just keep going, right? So this is about embracing the all that is, embracing the circle and really 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 stopping this like tendency to label things as like right, wrong, good, bad, right? Yeah. Okay. For what you need to shed like a snake, really interesting. We got the 10 of Pentacles. To me, this is speaking to the need for us to stop obsessing with what we think it should look like, what we think success looks like, what we think abundance looks like, what we think prosperity looks like, what we think our life should look like, what we think our business should look like, right? Because this is what we need to shed like a snake. So the shadow aspects of 10 of Pentacles, right? So you can see in this card, like everyone's partying, like people are having a good time, right? Like there's plenty to go around, right? And so any part of you that is still living in scarcity, that needs to be shed. Any part of you that is denying yourself this reality needs to be shed. Any part of you that is like scared of this goodness, that is waiting for the other shoe to drop, that is telling some narrative of how they can have it, but you can't, or how you can have some of it, but not all of it, or how if we only did, all these stories need to go. All the stories need to go. This is also feeling like we need to shed this idea that like of comfort. Okay? This leader is out there on their own, right? He's like in the wilderness. He doesn't have a bunch of bags. He's just carrying his wand, right? The lion's right there. Like he's out there confident, not needing all of the material comforts in order to trust that the universe is going to bring him what is needed, right? There's almost this like shedding of the story around what we need to be comfortable, what we need to survive. Because this is, again, what we need to shed like a snake. And like to get to this point, right, where we are like totally in flow as the highest possible outcome, like we need to stop limiting what can be for us. What's dropping in right now is really like the way in which we create this picture of what success looks like. And then we strive towards this like limited picture of success when maybe like success looks like this, right? Or maybe like success looks very different. But our obsession with this narrative, this story, this iteration prevents what is actually meant for us to come, right? And so all of the stories that you have about what it's supposed to look like just needs to shed. Okay, give me a second. I'm just going to silence my phone real quick. Sorry, folks. Beep, boop. Okay. Okay, and then the last position was the spiritual guided and support for the journey. And so we got the sun, which feels really awesome. And then the other card that popped out with that was the Two of Swords. So I want to talk about the sun first. So spiritual guidance that is needed for the journey. I mean, full embrace, full trust, full openness, right? Like, are you talk about like, you know what I mean? Just like letting the goodness in, right? Both of these cards for the like spirit guidance and support for the journey and the energy that we need to call in. Look at how like open and receptive these two individuals are, right? Like full heart open, right? Arms open wide, ready to receive, right? So the spiritual support is available to you. Open up to receive it. I'm going to say that again. The spiritual support is available to you. Open up to receive it. Call on it. Invite it in consistently all the time, right? Bask in your spiritual connection. Bask in the synchronicities, right? Like this is a very, very powerful and positive card to get in this position. The sun is all about hope, right? And it's the number 19, right? So both like 19 about to get to 20, so that kind of last step on a completion journey, right? But also 9 plus 1 is 10, right? So also its own beginning, right? So this is a very lucky card to have here. So call in your spiritual support. And honestly, like get out into the sun, right? The solar codes right now, with us being in the equinox and there being this like equal day and equal night, are really, really potent right now. So go out and get into the sun, right? Get your skin um, in the sun. Absorb the solar codes, right? Because again, right? This lady here with the you can see she's got like the darker energy here and the lighter energy here, right? That equal balance. It feels really poignant to be having this come up during this equinox point because this is the time of year when there is that balance, that equal night and equal day, right? Okay, so good spiritual support. And then the other card that had come out for spirit guide and support on the journey was the Two of Swords. This is all about moving out of indecision. There is a lot of clutter and noise in the field right now. And so it's really up to us to start to tune out all of that noise so that we can make the decision, right? You can see she's at this choice point. She's got these like two different paths she can go down, but there's like all this energy coming in, right? And she can't really see the way forward. So simultaneously, right? This could be, right? There's a lot of spiritual downloads coming in, so maybe it feels a little overwhelming. So get yourself some sort of journal or get yourself some sort of like recording device and try to get some of that out of you, right? The other thing that's coming up is that there is just a lot of noise in the field. There's a lot of distraction energy, there's a lot of fear energy, a lot of people trying to sow narratives of division, fear, hate, separation, right? And we need to come back into oneness, right? And so, how you're going to do that, keep calling on your spiritual support. Go into the sun, get your body into the sun, feel the sun on your skin, connect with nature more, right? Don't go looking for all of the information, right? Like, there's almost this like information overload that this card is speaking to, right? And there needs to be less gathering of information and more just like embodiment of the present moment, right? More embodiment of this leadership, right? More embodiment of this kind of reciprocity, this kind of flow, this kind of like, you know, that like sacred figure eight, right? And again, right? Because this is what we need to shed like a snake, right? The other thing that's coming in here, right, that we need to shed like a snake is like sometimes, right, to get to this leadership moment, it's not gonna be comfortable. We're gonna have to step outside our comfort zone, right? Sometimes to get to like this expression of our mastery, right, like we might have to give up some of our creature comforts. We might have to give up the benefits of staying quiet, of hiding, of, you know what I mean? All of that like perceived safety that comes with like staying small and playing safe, right? So what we need to shed like a snake is yeah, like the comforts as well, right? Like this idea that and I don't mean like you have to be uncomfortable, right? I mean like the false comforts that keep us from doing what we came here to do. Like the false comforts that keep us from embracing it all, from standing in our power, from getting barefoot in the ground, right? Like kind of like that story of like civilization, you know what I mean? That also is very rooted in a lot of like colonialism and like white supremacy and kind of like extraction, exploitation energy, right? Like we have to rewrite what we want the future to look like. Yeah. Yeah, so this feels like a really potent reading. So the direction, the highest possible outcome is like we're sharing our gifts in total flow, giving and receiving with ease, right? The energy that we need to call in right now is like a full embrace and a reminder that we are the creators of our destiny, right? So what we decide to do shapes the fortunes. What we need to shed like a snake, right? All of these stories that keep us really limited and all of these comforts that get in the way of our own spiritual growth, our own leadership. And the spiritual guidance and support for the journey, like we are so supported. Spirit is here for us. Get out in the sun, right? Like don't get so caught up in all of this distraction. Like help trust in spirit and your intuition to help you make this choice, not your mind, right? Because this is a swords card. It's about the mind. So like we need to be tapping into that spiritual intuitive support. Okay, cool. So I'm hearing look at the bottom of the deck. Okay. And so I see Ace of Swords. So again, very interesting that I was just talking about this Two of Swords energy here and how we need to kind of shed the narratives that aren't working for us and stop overthinking, right? What I'm really getting is that we're going to be channeling in new ways of seeing the world, channeling in new ways of existing in the world. That's part of this, right? That's why we need to call in the all that is, right? And that's part of this, right? Because as leaders, right, we are stepping forward to speak something new. And that's part of this, right? Like, if we are so committed to upholding the old ways of succeeding, the old ways of being rich, we'll never write those new narratives where rich isn't about exploiting others, but is about generosity, where rich isn't about how much we can take, but how much we can give, right? And so, again, this is about new ways of doing, being, thinking. And so it's really important for all of us to just really yeah, call in that spiritual support and don't feel like you have to be choosing sides and really let go of that like need to be like right and make other people wrong, right? Like this is about like stepping into a new day here. All right. So that feels really good.